Chapter 1, Bloodlines and Curses. How does a curse begin to work? A curse doesn't start working automatically. It comes into effect when the person in question chooses to sin or is led to sin. Let me give you an example. Many parents are used by the devil to put curses on their children. They do this by abusing their children. Such an innocent child will learn to live in fear and also learn to hate because of the abuse. Hate and fear are sins. And when sin reaches a certain level in that child, it opens a door for the devil to enter that child's life. This is why we often find that victims of abuse, even children, need to be delivered from demonic possession. A curse will have a stronger hold on a person if they choose to sin of their own free will and not because of abuse or neglect. This is especially a warning to young people, teenagers, and young adults. Don't choose to live a life of sin, sex outside of marriage, drugs, and the like. If you don't want to end up like your alcoholic father or unhappy mother, don't live like them. I can tell you about a 16-year-old boy who decided to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. After they sinned, here comes the curse. They got into a fight, and out of spite, the girl lied that he had raped her. He ended up in prison for 11 years. Mind you, the boy did not actually rape the girl. They both agreed to have sex outside of marriage. After he had been in prison for 11 years, the girl admitted that she had lied about him raping her. He chose to sin. That sin opened the door for his family's generational curse to come upon his life. I'm sure most of us have heard of 14-year-old girls who decided to have a one night stand and got pregnant. They became single teenage mothers who had to look after their own children. Most of them never finished school. In all likelihood, their grandmothers, mothers, or aunts were also teenage mothers. They chose to sin and the curse came into their lives. I can tell you about a woman whose mother had a spinal cord injury. This woman had a similar injury. She broke her neck twice in two freak accidents. As a result, she can't turn her head left or right. This woman's 16-year-old son went swimming with his friends. They went swimming in a river that was very muddy and full of rocks. It wasn't allowed to swim in that river. These teenagers decided to disobey. They jumped into the water anyway. Here comes the curse. Who do you think broke his neck and ended up in a wheelchair? Yes, of course. The boy whose mother and grandmother had the same injuries. He ended up in a wheelchair because generational curses get worse after each generation. That is how dangerous generational curses are. They worsen after each generation. In our last example, we see a grandmother who had a spinal cord injury but didn't lose her bodily functions. Then we see her daughter who broke her neck twice and lost the ability to turn her head sideways. Finally, the grandson broke his neck and lost the use of his hands and legs. He ended up in a wheelchair. This is another important reason why generational curses must be broken and stopped in the name of Yeshua.